Search piece, advanced worm. Stop fin.
Then stop.
Worm. Advanced wet sponge. Stop fin.
Then stop.
Sponge piece. Advanced dry sponge. Stop fin.
Then stop.
Sponge piece. Handle cartridge. Charge piece. Ram piece. Stop it.
Then stop.
Ram. Brick and prime. Make ready. Give fire.
Wait for the splash. Period gun firing, they would almost immediately now reload. And they were capable of reloading and firing the weapon 3 times a minute. But for the national park regulations that we use, you have to wait 3 minutes before reloading the gun. The reason for that is the possibility of burning embers, residual burning embers that may be at the bottom of the barrel. So they are going to reload when my powder monkey Thomas here has allowed the timer to pass through. But I'll take the opportunity just to talk you briefly through the firing procedure and some of the things you saw. The powder monkey at the bottom, at the back here, he's in charge of the munitions and the musicians. And the bombardier orders him whether to bring canister, whether to bring ball, selects the ammunition, takes it up to the bombardier. The bombardier then inspects it, and then you'll notice he puts it into the right hand of the worm gunner at the front. She then hangs on to that. The procedure of actually, after the piece has been fired, it needs to be wet sponged first. That will hopefully put out any burning embers that might remain in there. And it's also wormed. If you can see the bombardier to your left, she's got a spiral metal tool there called the worm, and that's used to remove any of the canvas sacking, the flannel sacking that goes around the charge, which will also catch fire. To remove that, then it's wet sponged. Obviously, it's now wet, so you don't want to put a powder into there because it won't bust. So then it is dry sponged. And so you can see the methodology here of it being wormed, then wet sponged, and then dry sponged, and then finally the gunner on the left here will charge the weapon. It is ignited by a tube of powder called the quill. It's like a bird's quill that goes into the touch hole. It's filled with powder, and then at the period it would have been ignited with a slow match or a linstock to ignite the powder in the charge. You'll also, I've missed a point, the gunner to our right here, she's got a prick, you'll hear her shout prick prime. So he pricks a hole in the cartridge through the touch hole that the quill is then inserted into. So therefore the powder and the quill are really charged in it. And then it's ignited. How did I do, Tom? Does anybody know Tom?
I suppose I might add, I don't think you mentioned it, but in our case, we're using a mid-1800s primer, the friction primer, instead of the quill and linstock. We haven't got that quite perfected yet, and the friction primer is very effective.
Very well, Bombardier.
Search vent.
Okay, search vent. That place is sort of my wife down there. He has a leather cover on his thumb. He places it over the vent.
Vent clear and stop.
Surge piece, 10 vent.
Vent stop.
So here in
Advance work.
stop, vent
Work.
stop. In between every single maneuver and every single action that they do with the gun. So she did
Advance
find
wet
some
sponge,
debris
vent
with the
vent.
worm
Vent stop.
in the cannon that she pulled
Sponge
out.
piece.
Then a wet sponging. That's gonna extinguish everything.
Advance dry sponge, 10 vent.
Vent stop.
Sponge piece.
Dry sponge. Up comes the round. I think they fired a 1 ounce. The next one's probably a 2 ounce.
Handle cartridge. Charge piece. Stop vent.
Vent stop.
Advance ram. Stop piece.
Vent stop.
Ram. Brick in front.
Ready?
Make ready. Give fire.
I think you got one.
So the technique was to mass your firepower together, so you had all 800 men firing simultaneously, and that's how you overcame the enemy. You wanted to hit them hard. So we're going to do a little firing demonstration here. No actual bullets, only powder, so relax. Shoulder your fire lock.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Recover your fire locks. Prime and load.
Prime and load. We must first. So in order to make fire, we need to make fire happen way back here. The powder and the bullet end up down here. We need to make fire there. So in order to do that, we have a hardened piece of steel and a flint. And it may or may not, but if you look right here, you'll probably see a small spark. That small spark ignites a small amount of powder we put on the pan. There's a teeny weeny hole back there. That will light the main charge and then sends a bullet downrange. If you get just a flash and nothing happens,
Shoulder your fire locks.
that is called a flash in the pan.
Flash in the pan.
A lot of fuss, but nothing really happened, right? All right. Where are you at?
To the right about. Face.
All right.
Details prime loaded and ready to fire, sir.
So make ready. We'll bring the musket up. We'll get ready to cock it. And we don't say aim. We say present. Present. And we will take aim at this time. Fire! Straight down. Now they are in the position to reload immediately if we so choose.
Open pans. Handle cartridge.
Handle the cartridge. You had to have it.
Tear cartridge!
Four opposing teeth to be a soldier.
Prime.
Because you had to take that cartridge, paper cartridge, and tear it open.
Shut pans. Cast about.
Round up, ready?
Wait, cast
Now
about.
putting the main charge down the barrel.
Handle cartridge.
Got to do, guy. The main charge, the powder,
your
and the
fire
69 caliber ball going down the 75 caliber hole. What we're also not doing is we're not drawing the rammer and ramming it because we don't have it today.
Shoulder your fire locks.
Make ready. Present. Fire. Half cock fire. Are we going to do another one? Okay, half cock fire locks. Shut pans. Shoulder your fire locks. Right about. That would be Shoulder your, you're already there. Order your fire line.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Right on. Ease arms, clasp hands. So this is the rest position in parade. You can stand there for hours.